The iron shackles around Ava's wrists have rubbed her skin raw, but she's long past caring about such small pains. Standing on the wooden platform in the center of the marketplace, she keeps her eyes fixed on the ground, watching shadows shift as potential buyers circle like vultures. Her heart hammers against her ribs, but she forces herself to breathe steadily. She's trained as a healer, a gentle omega in a world that values only strength and power. Next lot, the auctioneer bellows, his voice cutting through the morning air like a blade. Female omega, 25 years, trained healer. He grabs her chin roughly, forcing her head up. Decent teeth, all limbs intact, bit scrawny, but she'll fill out with proper feeding. Ava's cheeks burn with humiliation, but she doesn't resist. Fighting only makes things worse. She learned that lesson months ago when her pack fell to raiders. The strong were killed, the weak were sold. She falls somewhere in between, which means she gets to endure this. Starting bid is 100 silver, the auctioneer announces. Silence stretches across the marketplace like a held breath. 100 silver might as well be 100 gold for an omega deemed weak in this power-obsessed kingdom. She can see it in the dismissive glances, the way buyers look through her rather than at her. Too thin, too plain, too gentle for their tastes. 50 silver, the auctioneer tries, his voice losing some of its confidence. A few men step closer, examining her like livestock. Their eyes are cold, calculating. She knows what they're thinking. Kitchen slave, field hand, something disposable. Just as hope begins to fade, a hush falls over the crowd. The sea of people parts, revealing a towering figure cloaked in black. The Alpha King, feared ruler of the land, strides forward with purpose. His presence alone sends a ripple of terror through the marketplace. Without a word, he tosses a heavy pouch to the auctioneer. The clink of gold is unmistakable. Sold, the auctioneer stammers, clearly as shocked as everyone else. Rough hands shove Ava off the platform. She stumbles, nearly falling, but manages to keep her feet as she's led to the Alpha King's waiting carriage. As the door slams shut behind her, Ava realizes her life has just taken a turn she never could have imagined. The journey to the Alpha King's mountain fortress is long and silent. Ava steals glances at her new master, trying to gauge his mood, his intentions. His face is like stone, betraying nothing. The stories she's heard paint him as a monster, ruthless, cold, devoid of mercy. Yet he saved her from a fate that could have been far worse. Days pass in a blur of towering peaks and dense forests. When they finally arrive at the fortress, Ava is ushered inside by silent servants. The Alpha King vanishes without a word, leaving her alone and uncertain in her new surroundings. At first, Ava is kept isolated, confined to a small set of rooms. But as the days turn to weeks, she begins to explore the vast fortress. She discovers it's not just a home, but a sanctuary for the wounded and sick. Soldiers bearing grievous injuries, servants suffering from illness, all are brought here for treatment. Despite her fear, Ava can't ignore her healer's instincts. Late at night, she sneaks into the infirmary, tending to patients with gentle hands and soothing words. Her omega nature, so despised in the outside world, becomes a source of comfort here. Slowly, word of the mysterious new healer spreads through the fortress. The Alpha King remains an enigma. Ava catches only glimpses of him, a dark figure stalking the hallways, a shadow on the battlements. But she feels his presence everywhere, heavy and watchful. She wonders what demons drive him, what pain he carries beneath that impenetrable exterior. Weeks turn to months, and Ava settles into a routine. By day, she keeps to herself, avoiding notice. By night, she heals in secret, using her compassion and kindness to ease suffering wherever she finds it. It's a small rebellion against the harsh world that rejected her, a way to prove her worth beyond mere strength. One night, as Ava tends to a feverish child, she feels eyes upon her. She turns to find the Alpha King standing in the doorway, his expression unreadable. For a long moment, they simply stare at each other. Then, without a word, he turns and walks away. But something has shifted. The next day, Ava is summoned to the king's private chambers. Her heart races as she enters, fearing punishment for her secret healing. Instead, she finds him hunched over a desk, clutching his side in obvious pain. "You're a healer," he says, his voice rough from disuse. "Prove your worth." Ava approaches cautiously, her hands steady despite her fear. As she examines the wound, an old injury, poorly healed, she realizes this is a test. Not just of her skills, but of her character. She works in silence, cleaning and redressing the wound with gentle efficiency. The Alpha King watches her every move, his eyes burning with an intensity that makes her skin prickle. When she finishes, he nods once, dismissing her without thanks. But from that day forward, things change. Ava is given free rein of the fortress, her healing abilities openly acknowledged. The Alpha King seeks her out more frequently, not just for treatment, but for counsel. At first, their conversations are stilted, formal. But as time passes, Ava begins to see cracks in his armor. She learns of the burdens he carries, the weight of ruling a kingdom constantly at war. She sees the toll it takes on him, body and soul. And slowly, ever so slowly, she begins to understand the man behind the monster. Their relationship evolves, built on quiet moments and shared understanding. Ava's gentle nature soothes the Alpha's rage, while his strength gives her the confidence she's always lacked. It's a delicate balance, fragile and forbidden. As word of the Alpha King's changed demeanor spreads, whispers of discontent begin to circulate. The old guard, those who thrive on brutality and fear, see Ava's influence as a threat to the established order. They plot in shadows, seeking ways to remove the Omega who dares to soften their ruthless leader. Ava becomes aware of the danger, but she refuses to cower. She's found her strength, not in physical power, but in the ability to heal and nurture. The Alpha King, too, has been transformed by their bond. He stands taller, speaks with more compassion, rules with a wisdom tempered by mercy. Together, they face the challenges that come: assassination attempts, political maneuvering, the constant threat of war. Their love, born of empathy and mutual healing, becomes a beacon of hope in a world long shrouded in darkness. As the sun sets on another day in the mountain fortress, Ava stands beside her Alpha, their hands intertwined. She thinks back to that day in the marketplace, when all seemed lost. She never could have imagined this future, one where her greatest weakness became her greatest strength, where love conquered fear, and where a gentle Omega healer helped reshape a kingdom. The road ahead is uncertain, fraught with danger and opposition. But Ava knows that together, they have the power to heal not just each other, but the very fabric of their world. And as she looks up at her Alpha, seeing the warmth in his once cold eyes, she knows that this is only the beginning of their story.